Hello everybody, it is 2020, January. We did it, new decade. It is time for my October through December 2019 collection update video. So the next 3 videos you see here will have everything that I have gotten from October till the end of the year in video games, DVDs and Blu-rays and CDs. Our first part will be CDs. I figure I'm just gonna, from here on out, probably do CDs first every collection update. But we have a few CDs here, not an insane amount. There are a lot. There's 17 CDs, but that's less than I've had before. Plus, a couple of them go together, so it'll be a pretty smooth transition here. There are a lot of Prague Power bands, or a few Prague Power bands, unlike last time. But a lot of individual stuff that I just wanted, because I got some extra money. One of the months I actually don't remember, so I ended up spending a little bit on CDs. And there's a lot of newer releases as well, for sure. But we'll go ahead and start off with the opening band on Saturday of Prague Power 2020. And this is their most recent album, and this is Orion. And as I said, their most recent album from 2018, Life Is Not Beautiful. I had heard one track off of this CD a long time ago because of the guest singer, and I liked it, so I expected to like this album. And boy, was I actually really impressed with this album. There isn't a bad song on this album at all. The singer took a little bit of getting used to, but musically it's super, super symphonic, and I love it a lot. So, like I said, not a bad song in this album. The End of the Fall, No One Stands in My Way, At the Break of Dawn, which has Elise Reed from Amaranth. That was the song I heard. The Last Sacrifice, Through Your Falling Tears, Unforgivable, Punish You, the title track, Life Is Not Beautiful, and Last One Falls. Every song is really, really good. I am really excited to see these guys for sure. They have one other album, but they have a different singer on that album. And a lot of people tell me that album's even better. A friend of mine told me it's one of the best debut albums they've ever heard. Another person online said it was the best album they'd heard in a decade. So I really want to get that album when I can, for sure. It's at the top of my list of CDs to get. Plus, it'll be easy to finish the discography as well. So really, really cool. Can't wait to see these guys in Atlanta, for sure. Then we go on to a couple of non-Prague Power CDs, 3 to be exact. This is actually a special one that I found out about not too long ago when I was looking up Magellan, the band, and when I got those Explorers Club's albums, I found out about this. This is something special by basically the same 2 guys. This is something special. It's called Leonardo the Absolute Man, original cast recording. It's basically a prog rock / metal album based on Leonardo da Vinci. So you got your track listing, but I'm going to open it up here. Apparently it pops open like that. But you have Leonardo da Vinci is played by James LaBrie from Dream Theater. And then you got like Mike Baker from the ex-Rip singer of Shadow Gallery. And then you got like Steve Walsh from frickin' Kansas on here. So really cool. Otherwise, this album is kind of set up like a stage play, I guess, in a sense. It definitely wasn't really what I was expecting. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. We'll go here. The first 2 tracks, Apparition and Aria for Italy, Apparition being the intro, were pretty good. And then you got down here, Mona Lisa and Il Divino were pretty good. There were some good songs, but it wasn't fantastic. Then you got like down here, right here, you got First Commission, This Time This Way, which is probably my favorite song on the entire album. Then you got Shaping the Invisible and Heart of France. Were pretty good. Overall, it was decent. It was definitely not the best thing from these guys I've heard. That might still be either the first Explorers Club or the first Magellan I heard, Impending Ascension. Are probably the best, but I need to get more of Magellan. Now that I have basically everything else they've done, I definitely got to try to pick those up. Pretty good though. Alright, moving on to another band I actually saw at Prague Power last year, and I really enjoy their albums, so I had to pick this one up when I had the chance, because they only have a couple other albums. It's actually Subsignal, and their 2013 album, Paraiso or Paraiso. Paraiso. I'm not Paraiso. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm terrible at pronouncing things. Sorry, guys. Just like their other two albums I have, this album, not a bad song. I really like the singer. It's such, he has such a, like, really, just a really good voice. But nothing super long on this album, actually. Actually, not even an hour long, but really, really good. Every song. Time and Again, the title track, Paraiso, A New Reliance, A Heartbeat Away, A Long Way Since the Earth Crashed, A Giant Leap of Faith, The Stillness Beneath the Snow, The Blueprint of a Winter, which has Marcella Bovio from, she's done Arion, she did Stream of Passion, and is currently in Mayan. And then The Colossus That Bestrode the World, and the last track, Swimming Home. All really, really good. I don't know if I like it more than La Muerta, but it was still really, really good. They only have 2 other albums, and I've heard one of them is incredible, so I'll have to get that one next. Probably Touchstones is the one I've heard is really, really good, so I'll have to grab that one as well. Then we go on to a band that was supposed to play Prague Power, I believe it was last year, but they had to cancel, unfortunately. And then they went semi-viral on YouTube, actually from a song on this album. It's actually Windrose and their new album Winter Saga from 2019. I believe it came out in October. I really like the 2 albums I have of these guys, and I think I probably like those 2 more than this one, but this album still doesn't have a bad track. I will say it has random, like, I wouldn't even say death metal moments, but like black metal drums, and there are a little bit of growls. It doesn't quite make sense. They went a little heavier on this album. But it's basically an album with a bunch of songs about dwarves. So it is what it is. But, like I said, not a bad song on this album. Of Iron and Gold, Winter Saga, the title tracks, Drunken Dwarves, Diggy Diggy Hole, which is a cover of Yogscast. That's the song that went viral. They did a cover of a Minecraft. It's just weird. And then Mine, 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 The Art of War, There and Back Again, The King Under the Mountain, and We Were Warriors, which is a pretty good song as well. Diggy Diggy Hole, for how cheesy it is has a really catchy chorus. It is cheesy as heck, though. But overall, still a really good CD. Not their best, but good. Excited to see if I can ever see these guys, or if they ever, what they do next. We'll see. Alright, moving on. We go on to back to Prague Power bands for a couple CDs. This first one here is the band after Orion on Saturday, actually. And it's a band I've actually wanted to see for a little while because I've heard they're really, really good. It is Thank You Scientist, and their newest album, or their new album from last year. This is Terraformer. I didn't realize it when I got it, but it's actually a 2-disc CD. I never realized that. I don't know if it's supposed to be or if this is like a special edition, but this is the one I bought. So, really, really cool. It's some really good prog rock with like, it almost throws back to like King Crimson and stuff, because they use a lot of like saxophones and a lot of, you know, like big band instruments. This was a really good album. A lot of people have this as one of their albums of the year. I wouldn't quite put it up there, but it was still very, very good. Songs on here I like. From the first disc, Wrinkle, which is the intro to this track here, FXMLDR, which stands for Fox Mulder, as in, you know, X-Files. Swarm is good, Son of a Serpent, Everyday Ghosts, and Chromology from the first disc, so really only Birdwatching was the only one I didn't like. And then the second disc, Geronimo, The Life of Vermin, Shatner's Lament, which is an intro to Anchor, Star Trek, funny, and then New Moon and Terraformer. So apparently the only song... Okay, so apparently I actually really like this album. The only track I didn't like was Birdwatching. My mistake. It's been a little while since I listened to this, so I will definitely be checking these guys out, because they only have 2 or 3 other albums, I believe. So I do want to check these guys out, because these guys are going to be something else. I've heard these guys put on a really good show. I actually really like the aesthetic of this album cover, too. Really, really good. Like it a lot. Then we go on to the band immediately after them on Saturday. I didn't realize I organized it like this. But it's actually a band called Beast in Black with their first album. This is the first album from 2017, Berserker. This was the one that was already on my list of CDs. I actually wanted to check these guys out ahead of time because I saw them. I heard them on a Prague Power sampler disc one year. So I've been wanting to check them out for a while. And I was not disappointed because they're definitely really, really melodic. It's just good, like, melodic hard rock. I really like this CD. I'm going to get the other one. They only have one more. But every song on here is really good. Beast in Black, Blood and Frozen, Blood of a Lion, Bored Again, Zod the Immortal, The Fifth Angel, Crazy, Mad, Insane, Eternal Fire, End of the World, and Ghost in the Rain. All very, very good. I like the singer a lot. Their other CD is definitely up at the top for me to grab. When they first announced all the bands for Prague Power, this was one of the only ones I was like, oh, I've actually heard these guys before. So they were the only ones that really caught my eye. Great CD. Really, really good to have. Then we go on to the opening band on Thursday. We're actually changing days finally. And actually, probably my surprise, one of my biggest surprises of this whole thing. This is Dark Water and their newest album, Human, from 2019 as well. I didn't know quite what to expect from these guys, but I heard this album in particular was really, really good. This is actually their first album in 9 years. Their last album was in 2010. And fun fact, the ex-keyboardist for Pain of Salvation is actually in this band. So that's pretty cool. Or no, ex-bassist? Somebody from Pain of Salvation. But this album blew me away. This album is amazing. Their other albums are probably way, way, way up at the top of CDs to grab. Not a bad track on this album. It is a long one. There's a couple 9-minute songs. So this one stretches length, but we got A New Beginning, In Front of You, Alive Part 1 and Part 2, Reflection of a Mind, Insomnia, The Journey, Burdens, Turning Pages, and Light of Dawn. All really, really good songs. These guys are going to be fun. I don't understand why they're the opener on Thursday, when literally the band after them has one album. It's just a super group, even though it's not a super group. It's a super group of, like, it's not like a major super group, but it's whatever. I still have to get that CD, actually. But really, really good CD. I like this a lot. I need to check these guys out. This is a great CD. If you're a prog metal head, check this CD out. Alright, moving on. We go on to a CD from a band that I saw in Atlanta in 2018. And this is their new album from this last year. I could say this last year now that it's 2020. But it's Eclipse's new album, Paradigm. I had to grab this as soon as possible. I love this band. And this CD didn't disappoint. While I don't think it's as good as their last three, probably, it's still really, really good. And as always, since all the other CDs, there was no songs that I didn't like. Same, I'll just let you know, same concept. Viva La Victoria, great song. Probably one of my favorite choruses they've ever done. Mary Lee, Blood Wants Blood, Shelter Me, United, Delirious, When the Winter Ends, 38 or 44, Never Gonna Be Like You, The Masquerade, and Take Me Home. All very, very good. These guys can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. This album is great. I love Eric here. Eric Martinson, yeah. Great, great, great band. I love every single CDs these guys have done. So, great, great stuff. Alright, then we go on to a band that I didn't think I'd be getting a new CD of. Not a new CD, you know what I'm saying, but new to me CD for a while. I'm actually really surprised I was able to find this for the price that I was. And originally it was meant to be a Christmas present for Crystal, but I ended up just keeping it for myself. It's actually the very first Placed Vendome CD. It's self-titled. I was able to find the first one before the second one, which is weird. The second one's pretty pricey. It's not super bad, but it's affordable. Yeah, I've been meaning to complete this collection for a little while, so I was able to find this. I actually had to go to Discogs.com for this, not eBay or Amazon, but still pretty affordable. Wasn't too bad. It came from Belgium, I think, so it took a little while to get here. But pretty good CD, probably not my favorite. I still think Thunder in the Distance is the best one I've heard. But tracks on here I like. The first track, Cross the Line. I Will Be Waiting, the second track. The Setting Sun, the fifth track. The title, I guess the title track, or whatever you want to call it, Place Vendome. Track 8 right here. Magic Carpet Ride and Sign of the Times are all really, really good. This CD was still when it was like a session band, so I don't think the people other than the singer are the same currently in the band, but still really, really good CD. Not terrible. Michael Kiske is such a great singer. I got to get more of his stuff for sure. Alright, then we go on to probably my favorite 3 CDs as a whole. My favorite CDs from this whole set of CDs here, because not only were they a huge surprise, I didn't think 3 CDs that all go together could all be consistently as good as they are. They all tell one overarching story, and it's actually a set of CDs I heard about, oh god, probably originally back in like 2011 or 2012, and I've ever so often seen these somewhere, but I never grabbed them until I had some money, and I'm like, I kind of want to hear these albums finally, and boy, oh boy, did they blow me away. It's actually a little bit of a, kind of like an Arion / Avantasia type deal, where it's one musician and a bunch of guest singers, but it's a little bit more underground. It's actually Genius, a rock opera, and the 3 albums in that trilogy, A Human into Dreams World, In Search of the Little Prince for Part 2, and Part 3, or Episode 3, The Final Surprise. Now, the best way to explain this trilogy of albums is, it's kind of confusing, but it's about a guy, or a musician, I think he's a drummer specifically. He somehow, through his alarm clock and the tempo of his alarm clock as he's waking up, it somehow sends him into dream world, which is where these creatures are basically control humans' dreams, and they're basically created to take a human through a dream and then they die. And he ends up in there with his dream creature. I can't remember what it's called. He's called Twin Spirit. That's what they're called. They're called Twin Spirits. And he ends up in there, and the people in there find out about it, and they're chasing after him. Because basically when the dream ends, the human forgets everything and all that. But it's a 3 CD set, because it's basically them finding out about it, something bad happens, and then trying to fix what happened, is basically what happens in this set of CDs. I'm not going to go too much into the story, but it's amazing and has some amazing guest singers. Like this first CD, we'll start off here. Every CD, there is not a bad song on, so we'll just go through here real quick. This is CD 1. Without Me Today, The Right Place, Paradox, The Glory of Our Land, All of Your Acts, Dreams, My Pride, There's a Human, Father, Terminate, and I'm Afraid. Now if you look here, this is the cast list. Mark Bowles plays the main character. Mark Bowles was a singer for Yngwie Malmsteen, and he also sang for Iron Mask, who was supposed to play Prague Power one year, but canceled. He doesn't sing for him anymore. And then there's this Lana Lane character, who I believe has been in some stuff I've seen. And then my favorite thing here, Daniel Gildenlow from Pain of Salvation plays his twin spirit. He is the only person that lasts all 3 albums, I'll tell you that right now. Then you got John Wetton from frickin' Asia, and Steve Walsh from Kansas. Oliver Hartman, who is in a lot of Avantasia, and he sang for, we'll put that on camera. I actually don't remember who it is right now. Oliver Hartman is best known for being the singer of power metal band Advance. Otherwise, he has done a lot of guest spots in a lot of power metal bands that I've listened to, like Avantasia and Freedom Call, and Ed Guy and Rhapsody, and Iron Mask as well, apparently. And then Midnight, the singer for Crimson Glory, is also in this. Yeah, very, very good. Very, very good CD. I would say probably this might be my favorite of the 3. 1 or 2. 3 is weaker, but it's still really, really good. Then we have the second disc here, In Search of the Little Prince. Songs, not a bad one on here either. He Will Die, Playing in Their Dreams, You Won't Escape, Valley, Beware, My Dear Son, What He Has to Say, All My Fault, To Be Free, Fight Again, and Far Away From Here. And again, Mark Bowles comes back as Genius, Daniel Gildenlow as Twin Spirit. Russell Allen from Symphony X is in this. Edu Falakai, I think is how you pronounce it, from Angra is in this. Then you got Roberto Taranti from Labyrinth, and then Eric Martin from frickin' Mr. Big. Liv Christine, I know that name. That's the chick from Leaves' Eyes or something like that? Hold on. It is Leaves' Eyes, but this is before she was... No. This is after she just joined. But Leaves' Eyes, yes. Liv Christine from Leaves' Eyes. Very good. And then probably my least favorite, but still really solid, Part 3, or Episode 3, The Final Surprise. All the songs on here are good. Toy Warehouse, No More Chances, save me from my destiny, alive and safe, jump off this train, let me live. Inside these memories, I die, back to life again, dream in liberty, and the final surprise. Now, on here, Genius, it's no longer Mark Bowles, it's DC Cooper from Royal Hunt and Silent Force taking over as Genius. He has a better voice, in my opinion, but just Mark Bowles just the music better. Daniel Gildenlow again comes back. And then there's Jorn Lande from Masterplan or Land or whatever, and Avantasia and a bunch of other stuff. You know, Arc, all that. And then Eric Martin comes back as that character. So really good 3-set trilogy by Daniele Liverani. He's kind of like a classical guy, but he did a random prog rock thing. Great set of CDs for sure. I love them a lot. These albums are incredible. The story, I actually legit teared up at the end. So it's a really good set of CDs. I would suggest it to anybody who's into prog metal for sure. Alright, let's move on to something else finally. We'll move on to a band that I saw last year at Prague Power again, and a band I've been trying to complete their discography because I like them so much. It's actually Caligulas Horse, and this is their first disc, Moments from Ephemeral City. Their second CD is actually out of print and really expensive for some reason, so I had to grab this one. This is actually a re-release with the Colossus EP as well, so technically the original CD, I believe, ends at Calliope's Sun, I think, but really cool to have this. It's not quite as good as Bloom or In Contact, but there still isn't a bad track on this. It's a lot calmer, I'll say that. There's The City Has No Empathy, Silence, Singularity, Alone in the World, Ephemera, Equally Flawed, and the track I butchered, Calliope's Sun. And then the Colossus EP is great with Colossus and Vanishing Rights. Very good. I like this cover too. I need to get their last album. It's called The Tide, the Thief, and the Water's End. I need to grab that at some point because I just want to have all their stuff. Really cool though. Really cool. Almost there. We only got 4 CDs left, guys. We're almost done. We are going to go on to our last Prague Power disc, or our last Prague Power for this year. It's basically the middle band of Friday, so our only Friday disc. And it's actually a band that surprised me as well. It's a band called the Night Flight Orchestra. This is their newest album, Sometimes the World Ain't Enough. Now, really funny thing about this band before I get into it. This is a band made up of extreme metal musicians, so like death metal musicians, so like Soilwork and I can't remember all the other bands, but they basically play like 80s metal or 80s rock. So it's a really interesting contradiction of what they normally play, but this album is great. It really surprised me. I'm going to definitely be getting the rest of these guys' albums, but there isn't a bad track on this album actually. This first track, This Time, I love the chorus. It's so good. Return to Miami, Paralyzed, the title track, Sometimes the World Ain't Enough, Moments of Thunder, Speedwagon, Lovers in the Rain, Can't Be That Bad, Pretty Thing Closing In, Barcelona, Winged and Serpentine, and the 9-Minute Ender, The Last of the Independent Romantics, which is such a weird title. But this band is actually really interesting because it's got the singers, and it even has that old CD look to it too. And it has a bunch of like female backing singers, so it's like a legit like 80s rock band. Look up the videos; it's pretty wild. Really interesting band. These guys are going to be a trip to see for sure. All right, then we go on to the bigger bands and 3 CDs that I really wanted to listen to. First up, we have the brand new album of one of my favorite bands, Voyager. This is their new album from last year, I guess. Colors in the Sun. Really short. It's their 7th album, excuse me. Really short, but still really solid. And this very well might end up being my favorite album of theirs. I have to go back and listen to their other stuff. But you got Colors, Sever Romance, Bright Star, great song. Colors is as well. Saccharine Dream, Entropy, which has Einar Solberg from Leprous in it, doing such a weird part. It's so weird. Then you got Reconnected, Now or Never, Sign of the Times, which is great as well. Water Over the Bridge, and Runaway. Really good CD. I love this cover too. It's pretty. I like the generic text with a really pretty background. It's really nice. Yeah, this is a great album. I gotta check I gotta re-listen to these guys and see if this is still my favorite after that. But very, very well done. I like these guys because they're like a weird 80s synth slash like prog. It's really weird. Gent. It's really weird. They're just a mixture of a bunch of stuff, and they do such a good job. Really, really good CD. I love this. Alright, then we go on to another CD that really surprised me, but I really wanted to check it out considering who it was. It's actually Ray Alder, the lead singer for Fate's Warning, and his surprise announced solo record, What the Water Wants. Now this isn't like, I would call this like alt rock or just hard rock. It's not really prog or anything, but it's, and I love the aesthetic of this album as well. But this album really, really surprised me. It's such a good record. He did such a good job here. I don't even know. Like this is such a good CD. Not a bad track on this album. You know, Lost, Crown of Thorns, great song. Some Days, Shine, Under Dark Skies, A Beautiful Lie. Easily the best song in this disc, The Road. Such a deep song. Wait, What the Water Wanted, The Killing Floor, and then he does The Road acoustically as a bonus track. Really, really good CD. I don't know what else to say about this CD. It's such a good disc. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's really, really good. Definitely worth a check out if you're into just like metal in general. It's great. Alright, we're on the last CD. We are pretty much done here, and it's the last disc of a band I've been trying to complete their discography. I was actually hoping I could get this CD at Prague Power this year, but it was the only one of their discography they didn't have, and I was able to find it. It was like one of the first CDs I bought just so I could have the discography done. It's the last Evergrey I needed, Torn, from 2008. So it's 12 years old now. This is back during their like lackluster era, I guess, even though I enjoyed the albums around this. Glorious Collision and Monday Morning Apocalypse. I really enjoyed this album. I'd put it about on par with Glorious Collision. Monday Morning Apocalypse surprised the heck out of me. But this is still a really solid album. Not quite as good as that. But the first track, Broken Wings. The third track, Fear. The next track, When Kingdoms Fall. Fail, Numb. The title track, Torn. Nothing is Erased. Still Walk Alone. These Scars, and then Caught in a Lie is a bonus track. But they're all really, really good. So there's only like one... There's only one track I don't like, isn't there? I think so. Wow, okay, so apparently I really like this disc too. Really, really good. I don't understand why people hated this era. I think it's still really solid. I don't know. Really, really good CD. Glad to have it. That completes the discography of these guys, so it's really, really nice to have all their discs. And that's it for my CD collection video for the collection update of October through December of 2019. The next video will be DVDs and Blu-rays, and we'll have Crystal here. So, there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video later.